Today we're gonna show you how to make the perfect keto recipe for fall. We make this recipe every single year and we keep it in our fridge because it is so useful to have during the fall season, and that is a replacement for apple pie filling. So it's fall now and everyone's talking about apple cider donuts and going down for those aesthetic picture-taking moments at the apple picking farm orchard. But you can't partake in that, unfortunately, because you've decided to go down the dark and lonely path of a keto lifestyle. Welcome. We've been living this way since January of 2019, and while it does work, it can be a lonely road sometimes. That's why we have tried and tested many recipes to keep you fulfilled on this lifestyle. And this is one of the recipes that we make every year. And that recipe is keto apple pie filling using a very unexpected ingredient. And that ingredient is actually of the squash family called chayote. So I actually heard somewhere that this made a really good apple pie replacement back in 2020, and I made it for my husband, who's really picky. And I told him that I had actually found a way to take out all the carbs out of apples. And he believed it was apple pie. And it wasn't, it was this. You can keep this in your fridge for weeks and use it as toppings on top of pancakes or in a hand pie. We've made that before. Or you could put it on top of ice cream. The uses for this filling are endless. It really does taste like apple pie filling. And this is gonna make a lot, so you'll have a lot to store in the refrigerator for the next couple of weeks. You're gonna be needing chayote, cinnamon, nutmeg, lemon juice, cream of tartar, water, butter, sweetener. We've used allulose in the past, we've used erythritol in the past, but this time we're just gonna be using this King Arthur baking alternative, which is a combination of erythritol, allulose, monk fruit, and other things. And then you're gonna need xanthan gum. So first off, we're gonna start peeling our chayote. So here are the chayote. I know that some of you guys are gonna say, I can't find it anywhere. Well, you can use zucchini. We have used zucchini in the past. Some people use yellow squash. So last year around this time, we did a video where we tested zucchini apple pie filling versus chayote apple pie filling. And while we did choose the chayote as the winner, the zucchini was perfectly good too. They are both squash, so they're close to the same thing. One of the ways that we find things that are kind of not rare, but not conventionally at normal grocery stores is that I have downloaded Instacart, of which I have never used to buy groceries, but I do use it to look up where some products are. So you can download Instacart, type in chayote, and see everywhere locally that they have it. We have 3 chayote that's been diced, and they're sitting in our pot. We're gonna start adding in our other ingredients, which are cinnamon, nutmeg, lemon juice, cream of tartar, xanthan gum that has been pre-mixed into some sweetener so that it's evenly distributed. You don't want clumps. And then about 1.5 cups of water. We're gonna mix this all together and let it simmer for about 30 minutes on low to medium heat. And I also throw a couple tablespoons of butter in there because it tastes good. And maybe a pinch of salt. So our filling has to cook on low to medium for about 30 minutes or so. It's gonna get nice and thick, and the chayote is gonna cook and it's gonna make it softer so we can use it on our mug cakes. So while that's cooking, we're gonna get started with our mug cakes. And this recipe is a classic one by Sugar-Free Londoner. We're going to be leaving a link to this in the description below, but it's the perfect base recipe for any kind of toppings that you wanna use. So for this recipe, you're going to be needing almond flour, coconut flour, eggs, butter, sweetener. We're gonna be using the same sweetener, the King Arthur baking substitute, vanilla, and baking powder. And we are going to be making 2 mug cakes because there are 2 of us, so we're going to be doubling this recipe. Also, she's from London, and that's why her name is Sugar-Free Londoner, and I guess almond flour is a little bit different in the UK. So she did make the clarification that if you're using super fine almond flour, that you should adjust for that. So we've taken about 1 tablespoon out because their ground down almonds are coarser than our super fine almond flour. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to add the dry ingredients into a bowl and whisk them all together. And then I'm going to whisk together our wet ingredients that include the eggs, the butter, and the vanilla. We're gonna whisk those all together. And then we're gonna combine the 2 and we will get our mug cake batter. Looks good. So because it's a mug cake, we have some mugs. We're gonna spray these mugs lightly with avocado oil, and we're gonna fill them with half of the mixture each. We're gonna kind of press it down slightly just so that it's uniform. You do not want to fill the mug completely because it is going to rise because there is baking powder in there. We're gonna cook these for 1 minute and 20 seconds at 900 watts. That's a power level of 9 on our microwave. the first time I've ever looked that up. It does make sense, doesn't it? Meanwhile, I'll give you a tour of our apple pie filling. It's starting to take shape here. It's thickening up. The squash is cooking down. This has about 10 more minutes to go, and it's smelling amazing. Looks just like apples. Right. It actually looks like an apple-shaped cake with apple filling. We totally missed that. No, we didn't. Yeah, we did. So I'm gonna try it. Try the filling. So you might be thinking, if you've never tried this before, what makes it taste like an apple? And it's actually the cream of tartar. And you also have the spices like the cinnamon and the nutmeg. We only used about half of a cup of sweetener, so it's not that sweet. You could always adjust this though. If you taste it and you feel like it's not sweet, add a little bit more sweetener towards the end so that you can sweeten it up to your own preference. Because Sarah and I don't like super sweet things anymore, but I can understand if someone tasted this, they might think that it's sweet. It's just not like apple pie sweet. So I would say towards the end of cooking down the chayote, test it and add some more sweetener at that point. I really like this cake recipe by Sugar Free Londoner. It's classic, it's moist, it's fluffy. It rose probably about 30% in size. And it's the perfect base for this. You could probably add different flavors into the cake to make it a different flavor. I was thinking maybe a cinnamon roll cake with cream cheese frosting in this. Then somehow? Yeah, that's a lot, but that would be a lot to make. Yeah. Or you could simply put some like vanilla ice cream on here. Kind of like how you put vanilla ice cream on pie. We've also used like a lavash bread or a cut to carb wrap and filled this in there and then deep fried it, and it tasted kind of like McDonald's hand pies that they have. So at this time of year, we're approaching fall. We're in fall. That means that Halloween is approaching. So that means that it begins the downfall of a lot of people, us included some of the time. Let me give you an example of how my brain works, okay? And it's messed up in here. So October rolls around and it's October 31st. Then I'm thinking, I'm going to eat all these Snickers bars. I'll just start after Thanksgiving. So now we're about a month. We've gone off the rails for a month. My mom makes the best stuffing, to me anyway, in the world. And it's really difficult for me. I've been able to hold myself off because we implement some kind of strategies that we can talk about later. But then Thanksgiving will roll around and I'll say I've ruined it. There's leftovers the next day. There's leftovers 2 days later. Now we're going to start after Christmas. So now Christmas has rolled around. And you're like, you know what? New Year's is just like a week away. Might as well start in the new year. And guess what? Our views, they tell the story. It's a tale as old as time. And our views on YouTube show. And then in January, it's whoop, right. That's 60 days. You can do a lot of damage in 60 days. I can do a lot of damage in 10 days. Always try to get back on. If you cheat on Halloween, go back on November 1st. And you know, we also do funny Halloween themed videos sometimes on our channel. And nobody wants to watch it. But maybe we'll link them below if you guys want to watch our funny Halloween videos. We had a lot of fun making them. And if you're hosting a party, you might want to make a meatloaf head named Willard or a hand that's made out of prosciutto. So anyway, so this was really good, really simple and classic flavors. If you want to see another way that we use the chayote filling, because this literally made like 10 servings of it, you can click right here. We made a fathead dough hand pie using the same filling, and we will see you over there. Anyway, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Keto Twins signing out.